Good morning, Sam Tolbert, Sound of Joy Music Services, and we are continuing with our Beginner Musicians Podcast number 2. Uh, I would suggest that you see Beginner Podcast number 1 to see the format in which we've laid out. We will be still using our 2011 church musician workbook, which has a lot of the theory that we have put together in the past to help musicians to become uh, better prepared to learn the songs not only of that day but of today also. So we're going to be processing into the D flat, or I should say all of the flat scales. We covered the C major scales all the way across from C to B, and we're going to go to D flat. We changed up one of our viewing pages. I believe that should be this one. There we go. Where we have our workbook shown, and we give you the piano keyboard also, just to save time switching between scenes. Now we are able to expand on this. There we go. And again, you can get that workbook for free by joining our free Patreon page. We'll put this here. There's the Patreon link there, patreon.com/Samuel Tolbert. And just by registering, or for the free version of it, there's a paid version with more information, but the free version does give you access to the workbook, which we will be using. So we're going to leave this scene up for a little bit. As you know, we always want you to warm up. Get your hands free. We covered a lot of this on the first stream, so you can go back to that one if you haven't seen it yet. I haven't really warmed up yet. I haven't played a single note, just turned everything on. This is the way that I warm up, to sort of clear the knuckles. This hand is feeling a little stiff because I haven't been playing any. But as I move my hands and get the blood circulating, and again, the independent movement of the fingers, it sort of loosens things up. This hand is tight there for some reason. The right hand feels good, the left hand feels tight. Alrighty. I don't know about the cracking knuckles things. Getting a little tight feeling there. Haven't felt that in the morning, maybe because I did some push-ups to sort of get my morning blood flowing. Okay, so once we get, you say, the hands warmed up to where you're not feeling any stiffness, you're not getting the knuckles cracking, you're ready to start practicing. Now, I've always looked at when you're playing in D flat, because that's where we're going to be starting from, up in D flat, that you want to get the correct fingering. So let's switch to that scene. There we go. Again, looking at our view of how each finger is actually numbered from 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The thumb, yes, the thumbs are always going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and pinkies are always going to be 5. But they sort of mirror each other when you're playing. For D flat, and let me just move this image down. This is the workbook which we're working from. Again, we are working on getting our new musicians comfortable. Let's see, I'm going to increase the size of this just a bit. I've got space that I can work with there. Okay. This is live, so give me a chance to change what I had in mind. Okay. So we've covered already C. Now we're going to go to D flat. And the fingering changes. The positioning of your fingers change. Let's bring that up a little bit. Bring that over. Because we're covering D flat all the way, all of the flat keys that we covered in yesterday's lesson, that D flat and C sharp are the same note, just a different designation based upon what sheet music uh, notation you're going to use. But from a book standpoint, they call it D flat. But it's the same thing. You may talk to other musicians and they'll say, well, no, it's not D flat, it's C sharp. Well, yes, it's both. And I think outside of C sharp and maybe F sharp, those may be the only two where the name may become an issue for some musicians because of how they were skilled. So looking at the chart for D flat, we don't start with number 1, but we start with finger 2 or the index finger. 2, 3, and there's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So the pinky never comes into play. The pinky sits this one out. Finger 5 is nowhere to be found. And as we look at all the other notes in this sequence, D flat, E flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, pinky 5, number 5, the pinky, has no designated note to play. That's because of the range of where the upper black keys take you. And it makes it easier for doing multiple octaves. Pivoting on the thumb. Now, I've often said the thumb is the most important finger on your hand when playing music, especially piano, because it is the pivot for all your other fingers to glide across the notes. There we go. So what for the new musicians? Adrian, welcome. So for new musicians, practicing the correct way makes playing in a way that you're more comfortable, more advantageous for you. I often say if you could learn the scales, you could learn the melody to any song. Now, my background is as an instrumentalist, playing single notes. So I learned how to sight read single notes for my instrument. When I got to the piano, I took that same understanding, found the notes on the piano, and began to use that same concept. Now, I didn't have a book to show me the correct fingering, so I found whatever way it got me to that note comfortable, I would do. Now, the left hand, again, in red, starts off with the third finger. Again, it's backwards. It's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 3, 2, 1, finger 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. And once you get comfortable doing that, once you, as I say, build a regimen of starting every day before you play a single note, you practice scales, you will find that you will start to glide across the notes. And when you play all of these scales that are in the flat realm, you're playing every note practically on the piano based upon where your fingers lie. You see there's a C in there, there's an F in there, there's a C in the F, which is the actual pivot point. I gotta remember, sometimes I get comfortable using the fourth finger because I'm usually playing more than one note when I'm doing scale. But from a practice standpoint, I have to pay attention to the rules. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. I believe it's going to be 4. We'll just look at the notes. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4. I missed it. 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to stop on the 3. Wow. See, I've gotten so comfortable playing this scale to where my fingers are comfortable, I leave the rules. So this is making me now look at the rules and follow them. Does it make it play easier for me? No, because I've developed my own way to jump across. And now I'm messing up. All right. So I start on finger 4 because it's comfortable for me, but technically it should be finger 3. Now, in this workbook that I have, if you don't have your own practice routine, a guide or template as to how you want to practice, you'll find yourself practicing for an hour. That makes no sense. Once you've got the fingering down, you should be able to get through every note, all 12 keys in less than 5 minutes, because you're only going to work on technique. You haven't even played the song yet. There, wind up on the 3. What you want to do is just to get your fingers used to landing square, as you can see. Finding a nice pivot point where I can land square in the middle of the black note or the flat note. Of course, the white keys are much wider, but once you go up, you can easily fall off to the side if you don't have technique. And that technique is lining up to where it's comfortable. It's all about training. 3. That should be 3, not a 2. So you don't want to rush this to get cut, because in time, you're going to learn to play bass notes on your left hand. The secret to playing bass notes on your left hand is to know the scales. But until you get comfortable reaching for that note, that's going to throw you. Okay, so now we're going to go to E flat. E flat for the right hand starts off, again, not with your thumb. We'll start down here. It's not with your thumb, which is number 1, which what you did down in D. You started with the thumb, but now you're starting off with finger 3. One, 2, 3. This right. 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at the wrong. I'm looking at the left hand. I'm looking at the left hand going, wait, that doesn't make no sense. But I looked up to the right hand. Now it does make sense. 3, 1. And again, the thumb is the pivot. You want to be able to pivot on the thumb. That frees up your hand to go to all the other notes. Now, looking at the correct fingering for E flat, you see where the thumb number 1 comes in twice in the path. Right there, right there. And you'll find you're back on 3 again, pivot underneath, and you can continue to get 2 octaves in. What becomes real fun is when you do this. And you are now able to continuously practice all the way through 88 keys, 76 keys, 61 keys, 49 keys, whichever keyboard that you're practicing on. Now, it's always good to have a weighted keyboard underneath you so you can feel that pushback. This builds the muscles in your fingers. As you can see, my hands are floating across the keyboard. I'm not doing this. This is good for the #1 musician or beginner who's never touched a keyboard before. But as your skill level grows, you're going to learn technique. You just need your fingers, as they say, to do the walking. Again, the piano being a percussion instrument, you are striking the note to get its desired loudness. The harder you strike it, the louder it's going to sound. The softer you strike it, the softer it's going to sound. And you will find those musicians that have mastered that technique can make the piano talk. Left hand starts off with finger 3. Let's start there. Let's start here. 3, 2, 1, 4. Fourth finger. 3, 2, 1, 3. Just worry about one octave right now. Until you get comfortable doing this in its correct fashion, take your time. When you're ready to go back, follow the numbers all the way back down the way that you started. Finger 3. Because in time, you will be able to speed up. And that is E flat. G flat becomes more of a challenge because you're going to primarily play, I think you've played just about every black key already. Yes, you have. But G flat fingering is going to challenge you. Let's go with the right hand. 2, 3, 4, 1 on the B. Make sure I'm looking at it correct. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There we go. And I will share with you a secret. This fingering is almost comparable to playing in B major because you're using the same notes, and almost this, except for one key, is the difference between playing this scale and playing this scale. There's the change note. I think you do stop on a 5 there. Finger 2 starts this off. So, and what do you want to do is get as comfortable as you possibly can when you're practicing the scales. I often say you've got to discipline yourself to understand you're doing a dual purpose practicing scales. First of all, you want to know how to hit the note correctly, squarely when it's the black key. And second, train your ears to know what note is in this position. For those who use the transpose button, in a pinch, you can do that when you're learning. But once you learn how to hear where a note should be, transpose will throw your ear off, because you'll be playing a G flat and you forget that you transposed down 4 notes and it'll sound like an E flat, and you'll throw your ear off, because now when you go to a natural piano, you'll be looking for E flat here. Now, I don't believe I have a transpose on this board. At least I don't see it. I've never looked for it. I think it's something where you got to actually go into there. Kudos for Core Chrome for not putting a transpose button right in easy view for the musician. I don't even see one here, and I've never had to look for one. But there's that pivot on the thumb, where I said the thumb is the most important finger on your hand because it allows you to pivot in between motion. We're starting off with the 2, right? Finish with the 2 so that you can continue on. All right, now for the left hand starts off with finger 4. But here's that thumb. Pivot on the 1, then the 3, 2, 1, 4. Never paid attention to that. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4. There we go. Again, I've gotten so comfortable doing it my way. I guess I'm in the wheelhouse, but because I'm playing notes so quickly, very generally I'm not doing a scale on the left hand. Now, I didn't have you do octaves, which is training both hands to work simultaneously with one another. That you can do on your own time. Because the simultaneous of both hands working together helps you in training both hands to work together. As you can see, I went right into that scale. 4, there we go. See, I'm used to doing this. But following the rules, 3 and 2, 3 and 4. There we go. Follow the rules. Thumb. And on the 2. And you got to take your time and do these. All right. So that is, and again, we're helping our, welcome Charmaine, G flat. Isn't that F sharp? Yes, I've covered that in the very beginning. It is both. In this workbook that I have provided, and let me just back this up a little bit. In this workbook that I have provided, I've given you a chart that tells you that G flat and F sharp are indeed the same note. It is a matter of how it is communicated through either sheet music or verbally what note is meant. Some will say F sharp because that's how they were told. If they had a book, the book would say F sharp and G flat are indeed the same note. The designation is how you get to it. If you go to F and go up a sharp, that's F sharp. If you're on a G note and you go down a flat, it's G flat. So in the key of C, it would be, think of the chordiap. How does the chordiap see this? In the key of G, it would be seen as F sharp. In the key of C, it would be seen as G flat. Is that correct? Let me pull up my Chordy app and verify that, because the Chordy app follows the rules depending upon what key you're in. All right, I got the Chordy app up. Let's verify that the Chordy app will see it as I saw it. Chordy app should be active on one of these scenes. Look, let's see who has the Chordy app active. Active there. There it is. It's active here. And it's a little out of place. So the Chordy app will see it as G flat. But if I had the chordiat set to G, key of G, it will see it as F sharp. There we go. So in music notation, depending upon how the transcriber is transcribing a melody, writing it, composing it, or transcribing it, depending upon the key that the song is in, that will denote which name will be assigned to that particular note. Because no one says A sharp; they say G flat. I'm assuming they say B flat. You hear B flat before you hear A sharp when musicians are having an actual conversation. You won't hear D sharp, you hear E flat, but you will hear C sharp or D flat depending upon what musician is talking and their understanding. Half a dozen of one, six of the other. It's the same note. It's just how it is being spoken to. All right, let's back this up. And again, this workbook is available for free by joining my free Patreon, which is found. Let me change. There's the Patreon link where you can go and download this workbook for free just by registering with an email. You don't have to pay for it. Just join the actual free site, and there's some other information there. And you can look over the entire Patreon page. I'm going to talk a little bit about Patreon, and you will see all the files that are there for your supporting me, what I support you with. And also you get direct access to me, not waiting for me to post something on YouTube, but you can actually send me an email through Patreon, and you get responded to within an hour or two, because I generally check the Gmail every hour for any questions that may come up from the Patreon membership. All right, so let's go back to our page. There we go. So we've covered G flat. A flat is next on the docket. Now A flat, I call A flat the actual musician's key. You'll find musicians love to play in A flat. It doesn't mean they practice the scales in A flat, but they love to play in A flat. It has that gritty sound that they love to use. A flat, as you can see, for the right hand, starts off with finger number 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Get this correct now, because I start off for myself. I start off with number 2. That's how I do it. But the correct way: 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now you may ask, well, why don't I follow the rules? Because once you know what the rules are, you adjust it for your liking. If you have quick enough hands, I can start off on here. If I start off with the 1, I may do the 1 because I want to do this. I can do the same thing here or right here. Because I've been practicing for decades. Once I got comfortable, I could switch off to whatever finger is going to make it comfortable for me. We covered this on the first podcast, where once you get comfortable with the scales, you can now manipulate notes as a percussionist or a drummer would. So for practical standpoints, let's follow the rules. 3, 4, 1, pivoting on the thumb. 2, 3, pivot on the thumb. 2, and end up with finger 3. because if you're going to continue, it makes it a lot easier to continue. Now what happens when you're going back down, your hands will have to learn how to pivot using the thumb to be able to get to those notes. Pivot to get to that note. Pivot, pivot. Now the thumb is pivoting. When I say pivot, underneath. Your thumb is going underneath like this, which is why you want to warm up. Because if your thumb is stiff, it's going to hurt whenever you wind up on that note. As you can see, my entire hand now pivots. Pivot, pivot over, and the notes just fall right in place. But coming back is a little more of a difficult move because you're not used to moving your hands. Having your thumb and your hand pivot like this, that can be a little bit of discomfort until you get comfortable doing it. But then you're going to learn to, there we go. I got to get back into practicing my skill. There we go. Got to put my entire hands across. I'm on an actual swivel chair and not on a bench, which would have me being able to just pivot across and get to these notes. But when I get into it, yes, the left hand starts off with the 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3. Now, it's hard that I may be driving this point into the wall, that scales may sound boring to the, I'll call it basic level of musicians, because they look at scales as being something that is actually mundane. I use scales, and again, train the ears, loosen up the hands, and so that I can hear notes and chords before I play them. Now we're going to do a session on chords also for the beginner musician, but everything has a starting place. And for me, if I can start here, I don't have to play the basic. It's the same thing. I'll make it like a song. I'll make a song out of it. Baby Shark. And I'll make my own melody out of it, because it helps me to get limbered up, number one, and to hear how I can manipulate in the major scale. We haven't even covered the minor scale and all the other scales that are associated with the sound that you can get from the piano. But got to have a foundation, and you can't have a foundation until you dig the hole deep and hit the bedrock, which is the scales. That's where everything is built off of a scale. Every chord is built off of a scale. The number system is built off the major scale, not the minor or the diminished, but off the major scale. And I think I covered that last week. I think I did cover that. How the major scale, the notes of the major scale in their different positions forms the number system once you put 3 chords together. So that's A flat, and you want to be able to just float across it. Now, we don't have a metronome as you would have in a formal school, but what you want to do is to be able to float across the numbers. 2, 3, 4. And with both hands until you get comfortable. Slow it down. Nah, I should have ended on 3. I'm on 3 here, I'm on 2 here, because that's how I've learned how to practice it. That's where I should be. Okay, now I wound it up right. Teacher's always trying to throw in his own way, because that's what happens. After you get established in what you're doing, then you're going to adjust to your level of comfort. You are right. My choir sang most songs in G, A flat, and F. Well, yeah, you have uh, favorite songs that choirs, depending upon their area of the country, will learn. And if the musician is not adapt to playing in the original key of the song, and I've had to do that in my home choir when I first started playing, I would learn the song in B flat. The choir director would say, "Well, that's too high. Move it to A flat." I said, "Okay." This would be during the choir rehearsal. So yes, a lot of songs centered around A flat. The Hawkins songs are A flat. Um, what is that song? "Thank You, Lord" is in A flat. Um, "Jesus, I Love You" is in A flat. What is that song? "Be Grateful" is in A flat. So if you were learning any of those early contemporary gospel songs, you were in A flat all the time. I think the one song they did in G flat was, which helped me to learn G flat. In G flat, what's that called? That song that the Hawkins had in G flat. Oh, I can't even think about it now. But it made me learn G flat because I wanted to be able to sound like the album. Oh, Holy One. Forget my chords. There it is. Oh, Holy One. Wow, I have not played that song in decades. That's why I'm struggling with it. A flat, D flat, back to G flat. Okay, that's what scales did for me, was help me to hear what the artists were doing on albums when there was no one to show me. Scales helped me do that. So that was G flat, but we were in just in A flat. Last of the black keys, and then we're going to bring this session to a close, is B flat. Now, B flat is the jazz player's key. Why? Because it so much emulates the key of F. B flat starts with the fourth finger, really? And ends with the fourth finger. Okay, so I've been cheating. I start with finger 2 and end with the third finger, for me. And as you can see, I don't struggle with it because once I got comfortable, I'm like, okay. But the fourth finger, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I said it so much emulates B flat, rather F, because F has these notes right into the B flat. So the B flat has 4 notes, 5 notes, 6 notes that is found in the key of F. That's why when you're playing in B flat, it's almost natural to have an A, or the F chord would be the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, starting with the 4. It's almost unnatural that somewhere in the song you're going to have this chord. Again, built on the scales. But from a scale standpoint, it's finger 4, 1, 2, 3, me just look at it correctly. Finger 4, 1, 2, 3, the 1, again, pivoting on the thumb, which is the M finger, 1, 2, to the 4. So, and the pinky is not involved. Again, all the black keys, the pinky has no place, you might say, in the practicing of the scale. So it's just sitting there, hanging around outside. Not that you can't use it, it's just puts you in an awkward feel for these upper notes. It's kind of awkward to have that. Feels much more comfortable to have it right there. And when you want to do an arpeggio, that's why I use finger 2, because I get a better arpeggio off of finger 2. But this is the correct way. Again, this podcast is for our beginner musicians. Key of the left hand starts off with the third finger. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4. So you're going to be crossing over, cross over, cross over. Cross over. And I often say the left hand should never have to come too far above middle C when you're practicing, because then you go into a range of making yourself twist and turn and making you uncomfortable. Although there are plenty of people who play notes up here, because I do the same thing also. So, starting from here, 3, right? Let's try and get this correct. Right hand is 4, left hand is 3. Now we're lined up. And we should end on the 4. And it should be on the right hand, should be on the 4. There we go, on the 4. And on the, I'm making myself learn again. 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3. Boy, yeah, that hurts. Training is one of those things where you're going to hate it for the first 2 or 3 months. This is months to be able to get comfortable doing this. We're going to do chromatic scales tomorrow. Trying to keep this podcast daily, and then on Saturday just have a actual free for all. We'll get out of the book, because these podcasts are help you, the newer musicians, break that transpose button, I won't call it a curse, but mode of, well, just give it to me in this key and I'll use a transpose button, because I can only play in C, I can only play in D flat. I want to be able to help musicians know that the only path out of that mode is scales in every key. Practice for at least 5 minutes a day. Once you get comfortable practicing them. So this covers, in the 2 podcasts we've had, all the scales found in C and the scales found from D flat through B flat. Practice these, not like your life depended on it, because it doesn't. If you begin to feel the tightness in your hands because you are moving them in a way that you've never done it before, stop. Relax, let the muscles release themselves. Don't come back to it for maybe another 30 minutes. Maybe put some warm water over your fingers, because you don't want to damage these. You don't want to damage your tendons. You don't want to stress them out, because if your hands hurt, you'll stop practicing. I've never had carpal tunnel. I've never had pain in my fingers to the point where I would say I can't play today because they hurt so bad. Because I never stressed or pushed myself to the point where I had to do something. It was always, let me sit here and get comfortable. That's all you should practice for every key. That goes for C. And B. I heard I missed I'm teaching my bad habits. No pinky. And on the first finger, or the first note. 5 minutes should get you through every key, 2 octaves, as you've been practicing. And then always try to find a song that you can play with a melody in any of those keys that you've practiced in, to see whether or not you can find it. Now, what's a good song for you to practice? I always say pick a song, a favorite song that you have, melody only, and try to do it with both hands. If I were going to give you one, I would say go to the doxology, praise God from whom all blessing flows. Here we go. Making your fingers work. After a while, you'll hear the notes in your head, in the scales. You don't have to do it as fast as I'm doing it. Right down the scales, up. After a while, you'll begin to hear all the notes that are around there. And then when we get into the chord building of this series, you will be able to do that same song in any key and assign chords that are found within the scale and find those alternative chords, which are just one scale note up away from the scale that you're playing in. Sam Tobert, Sound of Joy Music Services, helping musicians become the best version of themselves. Oh, yes, there are minor scale chords coming also. That's where you see me being able to go into different notes from knowing what the minor scale sounds like. And I did a song there. I think I may create another song for you to practice that's not in this workbook. But again, you can download this workbook. Let's go to page 1. You can download this workbook on the internet at my Patreon page. Let me just get to, I'm using 2 screens here. There we go. This is a 2011 course workbook that I created that has all of these, not just scale practice. I believe I have got 34 pages in a PDF file, which you can download and install on your phone if you wanted to. And we cover new musicians, intermediate, and advanced musicians. This is all old. I'm not on MySpace anymore. That's how old this one is. But as you can see, it is labeled out for whatever skill that the current musician is in, and you'll find out where your skill is real quick if you go to one of the other pages and you go, oh, I can't do this. Well, then you come back and go to page 5, and this is where you start. Sam Tobert, Sound of Joy Music Services. Again, do appreciate you coming in live. I do this live for a purpose, just to see who's watching, who's up, and the replay, it will be available to you. I usually like to end all my practices with a song. You saw me do Praise God from whom all blessing flow. So let me end my practice with that, demonstrating again what can happen when you use scales. We stopped in B major. So let's go to B major, and let me do that song in B major and then add the chords that come from practicing scales.